We are going to be looking at the Minolta 16. This is the MG of their series. I'm back. Yeah, right? All right, yeah, we're good. Definitely back. And I've been away for a long time. I do know. I apologize massively for that. And all of you guys that have stuck around, thank you so much for sticking around, guys. Man, you guys are awesome. Today we're going to be talking about the Subminiature Minolta 16mm camera, specifically the MG. I do have two other ones, but I didn't get to test them out because they're not working right now. Speaking of this system, it's like one of the true DIY systems out there, I consider, because you have to, there isn't a place for you to develop your film. There isn't a place to acquire film. So it uses these tiny little cartridges that you have to load yourself and are very, 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 very fragile. So you have to be very careful with the system in and of itself a whole, but it's well worth it because the optics on these little cameras are fantastic, and the pictures are really good that they take. I really enjoyed using them. The film that you got to see a few like glimpses of there was it's a microfilm stock with no perforations, and it's rated at about, I'd say maybe a 10 to 20 ASA. So it needs a lot of light. And I got it really inexpensively, like $20 for 100 feet or something like that, and it just made sense. One of the cool things about this system, I think that, you know, surpasses many others, is that if you have canisters of 400 feet of 16mm film in your freezer and you're wondering how that's going to shoot, or you have a shoot coming up and you want to run some bracket tests without running the whole line through to see which ones you want to use, this is the system for you, because you can load your own film in it. It will take sprocketed or unsprocketed film, and you can run bracket tests on any one of these canisters of film. So I think that's really cool about this, especially, you know, for cinematographers out there that have a lot of film in their freezer and would like to know where it's sitting, where it's standing at. I'll show you right now how we load the cartridges and how to load the film on to develop. It took me a little bit. It was racking my brain about it, how I was gonna make it. And I looked at some pictures of some DIY development techniques that people had used. I was like, well, I wanted to see what I had at hand. And the first thing that came to mind was my 8mm reels. So what I did was I put together 5 8mm reels and stacked them together and super glued them. I used the insert on the bottom reel to loop my film around onto the top, and then I inserted on the top, and then I put that into my canister. And that is how I've been developing my film. And I use Caffeinol to develop that film as well, which is my main go-to developer. The MG of their series. I really like it. These Roker lenses were really, really nice. There's a few things that technically that this camera isn't fully spec'd out because of the metering system. It does have this coupled meter system. Depending on how much light you have available, once you set it to the correct exposure, what the meter tells you at, it will set your shutter speed automatically. So if you're shooting at the widest aperture, you're going to be shooting at a 1/30th shutter speed. If you're shooting at an f/16 at the smallest aperture, you're going to be shooting at 250th of a second of a shutter. So it is a little bit different, you know. It kind of does a little bit of the thinking for you, in the sense, you know, you don't have to be choosing your shutter speed, but it is kind of nice to be messing with your shutter speed, you know. That's just something sweet. A little hack that there is for this, that it does have a PC flash, so you can do, if you set it to the flash, it will set your shutter speed at 1/30th of a second no matter what aperture you choose. And that's really the most that I know of that you can do to adjust the shutter speed by yourself. Overall, extremely nice cameras. they came with their own little attachment. The older ones had attachments that you could put onto and you would slip onto the lens. This one has an attachment already for your regular picture taking at infinity distance at f/16, or you can put a close-up meter which will give you a focus distance from about 7 feet is where you get optimal clarity. And I thought that was pretty cool because it meant that I didn't have to be switching stuff out. I think one of the main things that's really fun about this is obviously its size, but it's also this really nice all metal construction that is really, it slips really easily in and out of your pocket. So it just makes it a nice little camera. A lot of the enthusiasts for these types of cameras will use 35mm film that they cut themselves into a 16mm width and then load their cartridges with that. A question to you guys. Is there any new film projects that you guys are undertaking this year? Or any projects, any video projects as well? I would love to hear about them. Drop them in the comments below. You can reach me at theomanningsworld@gmail.com. I'm also on Instagram, and I'll put both of those links below. Well, guys, that's my show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Long stretch before I got to you guys, but I promise you the next one will not be. Happy shooting. Take care.